It is. Oh, it is. But please understand something. You're going to get caught, and we're going to be the ones that catch you. Understand that.
Welcome back to the PI Report. Again, it's your boy Kevin J. Harmer with Harmer Investigations. Before I introduce my guest, remember this topic is called A Legacy in Limbo. I have a mother and daughter team right now that's going through what we're going to talk about. I want to introduce at this time Mrs. Trina Hardaway and her daughter, Ms. Jessica Davis. Ladies, welcome to the show. How are y'all?
Good.
All right. Ms. Hardaway, you're a client of Harmer Investigations, is that correct?
Yes.
Give me a quick backstory on why did you need my services?
Well, it started out with my father having over 123 acres of land in Atlanta. And we needed an investigator to find out how my father's will was dispersed or it was in question. And so we hired a PI through my daughter Jessica before we hired you, and it was a mess. And so he wasn't honest, he took the payment, and then we weren't able to get any results. And so I told Jessica I was gonna give up on it. I was just done with it because I had been going through so much with the case, and then to hire an investigator who was also crooked, it kind of made me lose hope. And so Jessica reached out to someone she knew, and they referred us to this guy, and it was a flop. And so I told Jessica, I said, I'm gonna try one more time before I just give up. And I got online and I Googled good investigators in McDonough area or Atlanta area, and Harmer Investigation popped up. And I was like, oh wow. And I told Jessica, I said, let's look at the reviews and see what the reviews look like, because the people gonna tell.
Right.
And so we pulled it up, and just about every comment said he's a family guy. You know, we felt like he took our case serious. He loved us, and I was like, I really like that. I said, but we still gonna look into it. So she looked at all the reviews, and I said, well, what do you think about him? And she said, I get a good feeling about him. I was like, okay, so I'll give him a call tomorrow. And that's what we did. We called you, and then the rest is history.
We took off from there.
Yes.
So, a lot of people believe private investigations, all we do is that infidelity. And that's not all we do. You know, well, I'm going to say this. That's not all we do. You know, I like investigations where it's going to make me and my team think. And it took a lot.
I know.
You know, and I'm not even going to say a lot. I asked you to do one thing for me, was not trust me. I asked you to do that.
That's true.
Because I know me, I have a hard time trusting people.
Correct.
You know, but I had to prove and show you and your daughter I can do what I said I was going to do.
Correct.
You know, without really going into specifics of the case or important parts of this case, the very first thing that I did, you know, we found out some information.
Sure did.
You know, I don't remember if you knew or not at that time.
I did not know.
So, but the previous investigator should have been able to do that, but he did.
Correct.
You know, and you know, I don't think we even talked about money until like the last 20 minutes or something of that nature. I didn't want to talk about money. I wanted to understand what your case was about.
Yes.
But then we started intertwining a whole bunch of things. But you said something that a lot of families they're going through it, and they're going to give up. You were going to give up almost on 130 acres of land.
Right.
That's 40 acres and a mule.
I know.
No, that's a whole bunch of acres and the 3 mules.
Correct.
3 mules. How you going to give up on that for real?
I was.
Your dad had almost 130 acres that, as an heir to his land, you were just going to walk away because a particular county here in Georgia
Correct.
was backdooring a lot of things. And now there's this anonymous will or phantom will that came about, but your father's no longer here.
No.
He passed away June 3rd, 2014.
Correct.
and he was in stage 4 cancer.
That's correct.
Okay. And that was your grandfather, but you never got a chance to meet your grandfather, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one brother who's deceased and one sister.
So, any grandchildren?
Yes,
How many?
5.
So, 7 people on the split. My job is to get you your land back,
Correct.
basically. And that's major. You know, all this land, but you've been through attorneys, you've been through a former PI, you've been talking to so many different people, but you're not moving ahead.
No.
And this new will, your father had a will in the beginning that
That's correct.
named you and your siblings
The children and the grandkids.
as the heir to his land.
Correct.
But then out of nowhere, this new will popped up.
Correct.
And this is when your father was under hospice?
He was on hospice. In fact, I think he went on hospice on maybe like the 16th or something of May. A will was created on the 18th.
So 2 days after your father was diagnosed to be in hospice care,
Correct.
some attorney or some people got together and and the validity of this will is in question.
Correct.
And I understand that. Understand something, people. When you have a will, there has to be witnesses to this will of the actual person that's drawing up the will has to sign. 2 other people have to witness this, and by law, the people that's inheriting the land or the money or whatever are not allowed to be in the room when that will is being witnessed and signed, because it can lead to possible coercion, intimidation, anything of that nature. So, and then they have to sign a piece of paper, which is called an affidavit,
That's right.
stating that I personally witnessed X, Y, and Z. And that's what validates a will. You have to have 2 witnesses to make sure that the person that is signing the will, one, they are of the right state of mind, they're not under any type of narcotic, alcohol, and your dad wasn't under any type of alcohol, but because he was in stage 4,
Correct.
he was heavily medicated.
Yes.
Was he self-medicated or he was treated medicated?
Treated. He had an in-home caretaker.
And this was this was May 18th of 2014,
Yes.
and he was diagnosed to be under hospice care May 16th. So, and you were visiting your dad from time to,
Correct.
periodically or occasionally.
Right.
And would you say your dad was in the right state of mind?
I think as much as he could be on all that medication.
Okay. And right now, the question is, why would your dad take almost 130 acres of land
Correct.
from his 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren,
Right.
and now he willed it to a neighbor
A neighbor
next door
next
to the
door
land?
neighbor. Correct.
And this neighbor lives like in an $18,000 mobile home.
Correct.
And your dad property right now sits at a value of almost $500,000.
That's correct.
But he gonna will $500,000 to an $18,000 homeowner or tin can owner, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Wow.
Livestock, cattle,
Timber.
timber,
So
life
basically-
insurance policy, all of that ended up in other people's hands.
And not you,
Nope.
not your sister,
No.
or the 5 grandchildren.
No.
Some of y'all are going through this. Again, don't take no for an answer. If something don't feel right or something's not right, you don't think it is, you got to keep pushing and pushing, just like what Miss Hardaway has done. She's pushed and pushed, and even though she hit so many roadblocks, she was about to give up. That's a lot of land to be given up on. The timber here in Georgia is going well. That's a moneymaker in itself. Y'all got Angus beef on there.
Yeah.
I would eat steak every night.
Right.
Lord have mercy.
Right.
I ain't gonna do no fresh cow milk, but but y'all got snakes and all that stuff. I don't do no
Yeah.
snake. But there's a pond on your dad.
It's 2 ponds.
Yeah, I don't fish. I go to the supermarket. I just point and they give me my fish.
Yeah. 2 ponds.
So, but there's also a house
Correct.
that he built,
My father built.
and he gonna give it to.
He said
a
they
neighbor.
said that my dad gave it to them. But the thing that I want everybody to understand is when I looked at the will, my name was spelled incorrectly on all documents, including the will. So if my father couldn't remember how to spell my name on all documents that you said he signed, to me that's a problem. So the attorney should have said, wait a minute, if he's not coherent enough to spell his daughter's name correctly, then maybe he shouldn't be doing this will, if it was a real will.
Right. But from my investigation and from what you told me,
Right.
and another person has confirmed, this attorney in question that we're not going to name right now
Right.
is best friends
Best
with
friends.
the neighbor
Best friends with the neighbors.
that the will was left to.
Correct.
So, sidebar question.
Okay.
We can get your land back. Can I get 5 acres?
Maybe.
And a cow. I just need a cow.
And one cow.
And one cow.
Okay.
No. Wow.
Right.
But let's do a quick rewind. When this was going through the court system in this one particular county, you made a phone call to a judge, if I remember correctly, and this judge thought you were the neighbor's wife.
Correct. Well, I was looking for an attorney,
Right.
to try to find my dad's original will, because he had sat me down 2 years prior to him dying, saying, I have to revamp my will. Your brother's deceased, so I have to change some things. And so I was calling around that little town to see who had this original will. And this attorney, who was also the judge, was trying to represent the neighbors who who this land supposedly went to.
Right now, your dad's land is in care of.
It's in care of.
Okay. But this judge, who's a lawyer, also thought you were the neighbor's
He
wife.
thought I was the neighbor's wife.
And when you told him who you were,
I said, no, I am Patrina Forts at the time. And he was like, oh, I have to end this call like immediately. And then he recused himself. Right.
now, it's a little small town in Georgia,
Yeah.
and
I'm telling you.
the judge should have recused himself anyway because
Correct.
everybody knows everybody. But you're getting a lot of people to talk to you and say, hey, this ain't right. I know about this because the funeral home that took your father's body, apparently the will was there.
Yes, the will was there. We don't know if it was the original will or this bogus will. We don't
But
know.
then you started kicking up dust, and all of a sudden, this will disappeared again.
Without a trace.
The hunt for a will.
The hunt for the original will.
But you and I have discussed who the law firm was that this original will was done to.
Correct.
And you've been told by a person that can confirm that your dad did do a will with this particular law firm.
Correct.
How do you, did the second will, did your dad know this attorney?
From my understanding, the attorney was brought in through Michael.
That's okay. It's a bunch of Michaels in the world. Michael Jackson.
Through the neighbor. Because my father already had a will. How this guy got involved, I don't know. But what I was told was the neighbor brought this guy to my father's house because he was unable to move.
Now, Pops was sleeping with a shotgun at one point, wasn't
Yes.
he? And you suspected there was some type of abuse?
Yes.
Or he was assaulted?
I suspected there was some type of abuse because he had a busted lip and he never slept with a rifle. So I asked, like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? And he was just like, and I crawled on the floor and I'm like, Dad, like, what's going on? So he would never say. And so I started coming every weekend and staying the complete weekend so I could figure out if I could see. But we would never be able to, they would never leave us alone.
For your dad and you to talk.
Correct.
So the county that your father property is in, has the police or the sheriff department done an investigation?
I went to their sheriff department and I spoke to an investigator, and he said that though it's intriguing, I need more information.
But that's their job.
That's their job.
Oh, okay. So bring back to a point that I've always said in the other episodes that we've done. Because the police or the sheriff's department, I'm not here to bash law enforcement at all. Let me make that point clear, because I am former law enforcement. But because they won't, or they're neglecting to do the job, families have to pay me. And it's not cheap, you know. But I have to do a job that law enforcement is supposed to do for free.
Correct.
Even though they're getting paid, but it's their job to go out and determine if there's a crime that has been committed, you know, if your father's passing was natural or if it was ruled a homicide. But right now we know they have his death certificate listed as kidney
cancer.
Kidney cancer. But we're going to speed up a little bit, then we're going to move backwards, because I like to bounce around, you know, to keep people's mind moving. That's how my brain thinks. The day your dad passed, the day your dad was rushed to the hospital by ambulatory services.
Correct.
When they got him to the hospital, EMTs informed the medical staff that they had to shoot him with Narcan because he overdosed.
Correct.
And the minute that hospital took your father into care, because your history is medical, correct? So the minute that hospital took your father in as a patient, he was no longer under the care of hospice. Am I correct about that?
That's correct.
So, and then your father passes away.
Yes.
But they did draw blood and all that stuff. But all of a sudden, we can't find that report?
They can't find it.
Wow. So, understand something. People, these entities, courthouses, law enforcement, hospitals, these entities will push a family away. Hey, we've done this, we don't do this, we don't have to do this, because you were told at the hospital it's not required.
It's not. They told me and Jessica
About
it's
the
not
blood,
required,
it wasn't required
to do a toxicology report. And I said, well, he came in having been given 1 milligram of Narcan, which is a medication to reverse an overdose. And nobody thought to do a toxicology report to see what he was overdosed on. And she's like, it's not required.
Not even the toxicology. The biggest thing is, if EMS brought him in and said, hey, we shot him with Narcan, he OD'd, how do you treat the overdose?
Yeah. How do you how do you treat that?
Plus, your father was 76 years old.
He was 71.
71 at the time. So no blood work was done. But to see how these entities will push a family away, you know, hey, we're not required, bring us some more information. The courthouse would tie everything up. And it's discouraging. Ms. Hardaway, she has been discouraged. But, hopefully, we're giving her and her daughter and her family some light, because there is light at the end of this tunnel, and I know it doesn't seem like it.
Right.
But like I told Ms. Hardaway, and I tell every client, we do not take a case just for your money. If I can't do it, I won't take it. Point blank, bottom line. I'm not that hard up for money just to be taking people's money, and with your dad's land, we know that they are selling timber right now.
Yes.
So, and this is still in limbo in the courts because it's in care of, it's still in your father's name.
It's still in my father's name.
9 years later.
9 years later,
is still
the land is still in my father's name, which I don't understand.
But that's a good thing for us because
Yeah.
in my investigation into this case, a legacy in limbo, we've uncovered a lot of stuff. We've confirmed some stuff that was told to us by going back, and even with the confirmation of stuff that we were told by Miss Hardaway, there was an enhancement to that confirmation. You know, I will say, like I said in the beginning, that to make a will legal, certain things has to happen. Yeah, you have to have two witnesses. Unfortunately, in this case, one of the witnesses had passed away, but the other one is still alive, and he got a motor mouth. He loved to talk, and we talking. And I did find out that the party that the property was willed to was in the room. That makes this will null and void.
That's right.
So I have to fight that battle. But there's so much entailed into this. Even though we get her property, we get the family's property back, put in their name. Possibly some people going to the pokey. If you don't know what the pokey is, nice little jailhouse that we're gonna give nice accommodations.
Right.
Somebody's gonna most likely lose a job. They won't be able to work in the state of Georgia no more. But that's not my fault because a family came to me in crisis, and they have been jerked around, and a lot of families out there are being jerked around. But you have to understand, you can't give up. The minute you give up, the other side win. You only fail at 100% of the shots you don't take. Just because somebody tell you no, that don't mean that's the final answer. If you know that loved one in your family has done something or they've given you something, and they all of a sudden now they have a change of heart for whatever, or a change of mind for whatever reason, there's a lot that's going into this. One, your father was on heavy medication, stage 4 cancer, under hospice care, and now, in possibly being in fear, sleeping with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And another relative was his caretaker.
Right.
Correct?
That's correct.
And they wasn't doing him right.
Nope.
And then another relative got the insurance money from your dad.
Yes, I think I need to explain that too. So my father revised his policy, put it in my name and the grandchildren's name. The caretaker, who was his sister, did not turn the paperwork in on purpose.
Right.
And so the neighbors started telling on her, saying, your dad took care of you guys in this policy. Your aunt decided she didn't want to turn the paperwork in. And so she didn't. And they received the money. So my dad died. I need people to understand that. You got to make sure you get stuff in order with people you trust. My dad died thinking that his children and his grandchildren were taken care of.
See, I told you, death will bring the ugliness out of people.
Right.
Especially when there's money involved. People, her aunt did not do what her father's wishes were because there was a dollar sign.
Correct.
There's a saying, money is the root of all evil. And I don't believe that at all. People with no money is the root of all evil when there's money involved.
Right.
They will do everything possible to rob, steal, and kill for what they want.
Right.
So not only did you and your sister and the grandchildren didn't receive the insurance policy, now y'all not, the land is in limbo, it's in care of two people, or no, in care of one person who's the wife.
Correct.
But the land is still in your father's name.
Correct.
And there's a lot of legalities in all of this. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be one. They say too many big Latin words for me. So with this being said, you have to get somebody that's going to fight for you.
Right.
Fortunately for me, I'm well connected. And that's a blessing for me. I am well connected with a lot of attorneys. I'm well connected with different investigators. I'm well connected throughout. I know how to get things done. And if I don't know how to get things done, I know I can make that call because I'm that guy that got a guy that got a guy. But you didn't need all them. You need people.
Right.
I'm the coach of this team. So my job is to go back and get the 93 Chicago Bulls and I'm gonna be Michael Jordan,
Right.
you know, and I gotta get me a Scottie Pippen and all them good folks
Definitely.
to go ahead and do what we do. On a personal note, I just want to ask, how do you feel this investigation is going? Or how do you feel that what we are doing for you?
So
I want you to be honest. I
am going to be honest.
Please be honest. You know.
So I was a little leery at first because of what I've been through. And that's just obvious. You know, we had investigators that took money, didn't do a thing. And then we had a county that we were dealing with that we know is corrupt. We know that they're hiding and doing certain things. And so I was at a point where I'm like, I don't trust nobody. And so even though you had all those good reviews, I told Jessica, I said, I still don't trust them. You know, I'm still trying to discern and try to figure out, like, but then the first day we met you, I was like, I think it's my guard kind of coming down just a little bit. But I still don't, because I'm like, they always come out the gate like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And then you pay them this money, and then nothing happens. Mm-hmm. So when you gave us, I think it was the first day we met him, he gave us information about
we spent 5 hours together the first day.
So Kevin did stuff for us that an investigator who had the case for a while.
Months. Almost a year.
Yeah. And so he was like, did you know? And we was like, no. And so my guard started going down a little bit. And I'm like, I think he might be okay, Jessica. What you think? And so her and I kept talking about it, but I still was a little leery. And then when I met you again, you had a little bit more information. Did you know? I'm like, oh, he might be different.
Because your husband was like...
Oh, my husband was flat out like, listen, we're not going to keep paying all these people. They scamming you. You giving them your money, and then you back hurt. You back at square one with no information. And I was like, well, he told us this. And he was like, it's still not enough for me.
Yeah.
He was like, because you've been hurt so much. Because again, this been going on since 2014.
Right.
And so we spending money on stuff, and we end up with nothing. Mm-hmm. But by probably the second, third visit, I was like, I think Kevin's a little different, but we still just gotta, like this, one eye open, just have faith that he is gonna do what he said he's gonna do. And so far, so good.
Okay. So, like I said in the beginning, I think the first time we met, I think we spent like 5 hours together.
That's the thing. I said, he spent like 5-6 hours with us. No money, you didn't ask for any money yet. And we already know pieces of the information that should have been given to us from the first investigator. And I'm like, okay.
And like I said,
Might be all right.
We talked about money, I think the last 20 minutes.
Yes.
And you asked me for how much, and I told you. But I told you, I believe I told you I discounted it because of what you have already been through with the other investigators. Right. And then you were like, well, I want to put $2 down and make 50 cents a month payment. And I said, that's why I need that 5 acres as collateral. So, but no. Miss Jessica, how do you feel about the investigation? You being quiet over there.
Well, to be honest with you, the whole case is devastating.
Right.
Like you said before, the Bible says the love of money is a root to all evil. And it's devastating because here you are thinking, cases like this, you see it on like Lifetime movies, on television, but to actually know that it's reality and someone who you love is going through something that is extremely emotional, distraughting, it's sad.
Yeah.
And I know that she's a strong person. She's not willing to give up easily, but like to see the tears, like, oh my God, like how often do we have to continue to go through the same circle over and over again? But like you said, one day hope came, and
she was a little more hopeful than me. I was like, Jessica. I was like, I still gotta see.
So when did your husband come on board? Or is he still like 1 foot on the boat, 1 foot in the water?
I think when we told him what you came up with, he's like, all right, then, just give him a little more time. Give him a little more time. Because it was more information that we've ever been given since the case started.
But see, in the beginning, yeah, I did all that. But then we even found out that the previous investigator wasn't even supposed to be doing side work.
Man, listen, no, he was not.
I called his job and everything.
Kevin just called him out. Kevin didn't have no mercy on him, but
None at all.
he didn't deserve it.
No, he didn't.
Because of how he manipulated,
Right.
and was telling us, "Oh, I did this, and he had did nothing."
He sent me some bogus report of the same stuff that you had told him. That
It was
you
the
had told
information
me.
that I had given
Yeah.
the both of you.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, but the case itself is heart wrenching to know that somebody would do that to somebody on their dying bed.
But
And then to
it's
deal with
happening.
investigators or people who take your money that you're already emotional about stuff and then do crazy stuff. It's crazy. But
Understand, again, everybody's going to go through this. If you got children, you're going to have a will. You're going to have insurance policies. You have to be exact of who's getting what
Yes.
in those wills, and give copies out to, like she said, people you trust.
Right.
Because nobody's seen this will. We know of the first will. We know it was done. The second will miraculously appeared. This attorney got involved with the neighbor, and all of a sudden, they're talking to a man that's in hospice, that's in stage 4 cancer, who days are limited, and unfortunately, he succumbed to his cancer, literally 2 weeks later after signing this will. And now the daughters, the grandchildren are suffering from the greedy mishap of somebody or a lot of people, really.
right.
Because this pie is big and there's people going to get a piece of this pie, but the people that's supposed to get a piece of this pie aren't getting anything. And they have come to us for help. And we're going to do everything we can. One thing, when I met with Miss Hardaway and her daughter, she kept saying, is this something that you can look into? Is this? And I did tell her, I don't want you to trust me. I just want you to believe that if I tell you I can do it, we can do it. And that sounds like trust, but belief and trust are two different things in my book.
Yeah.
But to gain her confidence, I had to show her I can do some things that needed to be done. And to give her the information to say, hey, we can do X, Y, and Z, and this is how it's going to be. And it's not always about money. Please understand that. It's about helping folks. This family needed help. We have acquired some powerful information over the last week. We're going to continuously gain more information as this case proceeds, and hopefully we will be able to prove to the courts, well, I'm not going to say hopefully, we'll be able to prove to the courts that this land needs to come out of limbo. It needs to be awarded back to the family.
Right.
I don't know what you're going to do 120 some odd acres of land. I just need 5 acres. I'm not playing with y'all. I'll put a lien against you. But that's something that the grandchildren can go out and get lost,
Yeah, and I think I need to just let people know this too, because the question that people kept asking is, well, what type of relationship you have with your father? Like, why would he do this?
That's not important.
It's not. But I just want to say this though, my father took care of all of us,
Right.
our entire life. So you mean to tell me on the day that he's dying, he gives us nothing? The father who has taken care of us our entire life decides the day he dies, I won't even give them a tree, not even a timber.
But he going to give
But you give it to the neighbors?
$500,000 to somebody that's living in
it
an
don't make sense.
18,000, not even $18,000 anymore. It's a mobile manufactured home. It ain't got 2 stories. There's no basement, no nothing, But this man built a house. a house, brick house. Whereas though the neighbor, you can hook a truck up to and pull it and they moving.
Right.
So, but again, a lot of people are going through this. A lot of people have gone through this and have given up. But like I say, I can guarantee you, everybody's going to go through it. It made me reevaluate some things and redo my will and make sure certain people have a copy of my will, because I have a huge insurance policy for my children.
Right.
But it's just the fact that I can understand if your father relationship and his children's relationship or his grandchildren's relationship was distraught. But from what you're telling me, and I believe what you're telling me, that y'all had a very loving relationship, and the manipulation came through other family members that became friends with these neighbors.
Correct.
And they realized, hey, we're sitting on a gold mine. They hit the mega million in this one county with almost 130 acres. Again, folks, if you don't know how much 130 acres cost, check it out.
Yep.
It's a lot of money. A lot of money. It could be $10 and a crackhead will run you over for $10 just to get that money. But you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, close to almost $1 million with all the probably over $1 million with all the cattle, the timber, the home.
Correct.
The ponds. So it's sad, but this is where we at in this world. I'm not going to blame the economy for what's going on with her, but it's money, and money is making these folks do certain things, because they're selling timber right now. They're cutting trees down. They're selling timber, and you haven't even benefited from that.
No.
So they living off the land, they
Correct.
living off the timber, and nothing's coming back to y'all, nothing's coming back to his grandchildren, because that's generational wealth, as
Correct.
they call it.
Correct.
Because you and your sister and his grandchildren, and when it's time for you to turn the key to the pearly gates, you're going to leave your portion to your children.
That's right.
And that's that generational wealth. That's that legacy that has to keep getting passed down and passed down and passed down. But now these neighbors just cut y'all completely out the picture.
Completely out.
Nope. I wanted you to say completely out, but they didn't. They didn't, because it's still in care of. And they ain't met the biracial PI. So, but we're gonna keep pushing forward. We're gonna keep going through some things, and we're gonna go ahead and cause the quick I get you wrapped up, I get my 5 acres.
Correct.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna sell it to Walmart. But I want to thank Miss Jessica. I want to thank Miss Hardaway for sharing y'all story, coming on to the show. And when we come back, we're going to go over what you need to know. This is Kevin Harmer with the PI Report. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the PI Report, Legacy in a Limbo. This part of the segment is on what you need to know. Normally, I'm going to switch some things up. Normally, I do 3 things that you need to know. But there's really only one thing that you really need to know in all of this. You got to understand that word trust. And you got to understand the word belief. You can commingle these 2 words together, because you're going to believe that you can trust somebody to do the right thing. But again, you're talking about money, you're talking about property. The person that you believe and you trust is going to do the right thing, you need to have a backup to the backup to the backup, okay? The big takeaway on what you need to know in all of this: have multiple certified copies of your will given to multiple people. That way, Sally knows that Johnny got it. Johnny knows that Sally got it. Johnny and Sally know that Billy got it. Billy knows that Johnny and Sally got it. Now Billy, Johnny, and Sally know that Stevie got it. And Stevie know that all these people got it. and everybody knows everything and everybody has the same exact copy. And then that attorney that you have, they know that Stevie and all them other folks got a copy of this will, but then have an executor of your estate. That way, when you do pass, your will is officially read, because they bring in all those family members. Trina, Jessica, Billy, Mike, Ronnie, Ralph, all y'all sit down and they're going to read the will. But the biggest thing of all, do a video. Do a video and send it to your executor and to your lawyer, your executor. And if you're oldest, if you're leaving stuff to your children, send it to all of your children. If you only got one child, send it to that one person. So you got a written will and you got a video will. That way, when it's being read and you have that conversation, hey, like with my children, it'll say, the DNA test came back and it wasn't, I'm not y'all daddy, but I'm gonna leave y'all X, Y, and Z. So, but it's undisputed. That's the biggest thing. You need something that's undisputed. So understand the word belief, understand the word trust. Believe that the person you're trusting that's going to execute your will, that's going to be given to the people that you have left this stuff to. If not, you're going to be like Miss Hardaway. You're going to spend a lot of money, or you're going to give up hope. I don't care if it's a half an acre. I don't care if it's a room in a 5-bedroom house. If I'm going to leave it to a member of my family, it's going to be documented. It's going to be in a will. And it has to be documented, because understand something, people. If it ain't documented, everybody coming out. The milkman's neighbor's cousin's aunt is going to come after whatever you have. Oh, well, he said he going to leave it to me. Well, he said he leaving it to me. He said he leaving it to me. All that he say, she says is null and void the minute you have a powerful will, video, written, and a whole bunch of people have a certified copy of it. So that way there is no question about it. There's no nothing. But if you do need an investigator services, we can investigate anywhere. I'm licensed in a lot of states. We will come to you. We will meet with you. This is our banner. We talk about, we got infidelity up there, insurance, child custody, background checks, criminal investigations, GPS vehicle tracking. There's a lot of other stuff that we do. Understand something. Just because it's not listed here does not mean we don't do it. Call me. Call Harmer Investigations, located at 18 Atlanta Street, Suite 175, McDonough, Georgia, 30253. You can reach us via web, www.harmerinvestigations.com. Make sure you put an S on the end of Harmer Investigations. Or you can send me an email, info@harmerinvestigations.com. Again, make sure you put an S on the end of investigations, or it will not come to us. Or give us a call at 678-272-8413. I'd like to give a big shout out to my sponsors for today's episode. We are, again, filming at the lovely Sleek, located at 41 Griffin Street, McDonough, Georgia, 30253. If you ever need a co-work space, or you want to get your production on, whatever you want to do, have a gathering, a meeting, come down here and talk to these folks. Come down here and talk to Miss Raquel Felton. Get it done, boss. She will make sure you are taken care of. I also want to give a big shout out to my creator over there, Miss Bevy. I'm gonna get it right. Hold on. Elevate her video. Media. Elevate her media. I'm gonna get fired. She gonna fire me. But powerful woman team. These two ladies have helped me out a lot. I never tell y'all who owns Sleek. Come down here and check out Sleek. You might meet the owner. You'll be surprised. I don't put people information out there. Just come check out Sleek. But again, if you ever need our assistance, Harmer Investigations. Again, we're the #1 company in the state of Georgia, 2 years in a row, up for the 3rd year for 2023. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we will get it, but we will help you. We're not always all about money. I don't care how long it takes to get with you, or to get you to sign with me. I just have to build your confidence that we can do the job for you. Again, I'd like to thank Miss Hardaway and her daughter Jessica for having that confidence in my company. to assist and walk this journey with you. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. You already been on that ride before, you know. But this has been the PI Report. This will conclude this episode of A Limbo in Legacy. But always remember one thing. You're going to get caught. We're going to catch you. Peace.